Okay, welcome back to another video. I said I wanted to get back to doing some more projects here, and with fall coming around, I just get excited for fall. And so I wanted to kind of create something that you see in the stores all the time, and I have a funny story to go with this. So I've done something I'm doing this in a different way this time because I just wanted to try something different and see how it works. There's going to be a lot of dry time. I should have grabbed my, hang on one second. This might help. I'm going to see if I can find it. Gabrielle, where do you keep the drying tool? In the what? Okay. Okay, I'm coming back. Okay. Sorry. I just thought about this because it's always chilly in my office. So I was thinking there's going to be a lot of dry time. Then I have to ask my daughter, Gabrielle. Thank goodness she likes to do some creative things too, because number one, she has her own like supplies, but she's always taking mine. So it's like, where is this thing? Okay, hello, is anybody here? Okay, so I'll tell you so you have seen these, like the pottery looking ones in stores. You can find them in Target. You can, if you're online, Pottery Barn, West Elm, like any of those stores. Do you know what I mean? But like the real pottery looking things. And so I'm not spending $75 for a small piece like this, but I really love the look of it. So I want the look of that. And so I'm going to try and recreate it. So I went to the thrift store, and you can see this is just like a shiny base type of thing, but it's got the shape. That same day, I found the most perfect, it was kind of like this shape where it was kind of round and then it came up, like this, but it was even better. And I brought it home. I set it on the table, and then I moved something and it broke. It broke. So there's nothing worse than that, because these are like, you can't just go back and buy or find one just like that, right? When you're shopping at thrift stores. So I was mad. So today I ran to a thrift store, and I was super excited because I found a dresser. And so I don't know if any of you are like me, but when I'm going to start actually working on this, and then I'm going to tell my story just so some of this dries. I have Gabrielle's, I have her paintbrushes, so we're just not going to tell her. But these aren't her good ones. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I'm doing here in a minute. Anyway, so today I was super excited because I was at the thrift store and I found a dresser as soon as I walked in. And so if you're like me, you get super excited when you find good things. And then, so then I'm like, I have to find a worker, couldn't find the worker. I needed to tell them I was going to get it, because in some thrift stores, there's actually like, you can, there's like big pieces of paper that you can take off a piece of furniture if you're going to buy it, and then kind of carry it around with you. But ours here, it doesn't have that. It's just a sticker. So I said I found a worker quick, and I said, I want to buy a dresser, but I just got here. I'm still looking. And so anyway, so I was kind of, when you just find the things at the thrift store and you just get excited. So I wasn't really like paying attention, but I thought, well, she went to get the person that needed to take it to the back. I'm just going to kind of look around. She knows it's me that wants it. If they have questions, they'll find me. So my reason for going there, I actually had a reason. Wasn't just, I was meandering around, but I didn't just go because, just to see what I could find. I wanted to find something similar to the one of these that I broke, but, of course I couldn't. But I'm there and I'm like, oh my gosh, out of the kind of the distance or whatever, I see this. And I'm like, yes, like that shape, this is the whole pottery vibe look I'm going for. This is even better. Like, this would be really cool with, I knew I had this one, and then I could, if I could find another one, just to kind of have a kind of a display of them. And for fall, just, you can do them in different colors. And so I was super excited. So I get it home and I'm like, and here's where I need you guys. I use my handy dandy searching app, Google the picture app. I've shared it here before. I have a video on how to use this. You guys, this thing's a game changer if you're not using it. Message me, put in the, if you want the link to that, it's a really quick video, but I show you how to use it. If you're somebody like me that wonders about this stuff or want to know more about it, put in the comments Google app. And if you do that, I will send you the link to that to show you how to use it. Super simple. So anyway, I was in the store and I'm like, well, I'm going to get this. I didn't care, what it was. And then I got it home and I'm like, well, first of all, I initially thought it was just a homemade pottery, which I love. I love homemade pottery. I pick it up if I just fall in love with it. I've sold it in my shop. And then I see this thing on it. Again, I'm thinking it's homemade. Like, it's like just somebody just put this on that. So I got home and I started taking it off because I knew I was going to do this live. And I'm like, wait, this is kind of like on this. Like, it's not just somebody, a kid just put this on there. And it's got some letters or whatever. So anyway, I got out my Google app. And this says it's like some Turkish like pottery thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot paint this thing. You guys know I love this. I love green, but I thought, I could, make this more, I don't know, more neutral. And then I get it home and I'm like, this is like an authentic Turkish some pottery. So then I'm like, I cannot do that. I cannot, this is a product I don't know if I've shared before, but I'm like, I cannot paint this. So now I'm stuck with this little one still. So I'm still on the hunt for some more pieces that I can do this with. So what I did here was I actually put Slick Stick on this, and I linked the where you can find. I think it's all these products. Yep, all these products that I'm using today. I linked it in the description. I think there is a way for you to see the description as I'm on here live, but if not, as soon as I get off, you'll be able to see it. But anyway, so I'm putting Slick Stick on this because Slick Stick is kind of like a primer for slick surfaces. So like a metal or, something like this. It just is going to help your paint stick to it. Now, when you are wanting to get, if you saw this before, it looked all perfect, right? If you want the authentic pottery, like this Turkish pottery that I just picked up randomly at the thrift store. You guys, these aren't cheap. Anyway, they're not perfect, right? None of it's perfect. The paint's not perfect. The texture's not perfect. That's what I love about it. So this paint job is not perfect. I don't want it to be perfect. So the next thing I'm going to put on this, if you were going to do this, I would probably tell you to just really make sure everything's dry, but I'm trying to do this in a timely manner. So a lot of the pottery that I see now, it's kind of got blacks and whites and creams. And so I'm going to use some Dixie Belle mud on this. So I just have a popsicle stick. I am just kind of, this is the stuff that I absolutely love to use to like fill, don't dip it back in there. Don't do as I do, just do as I say. I fill like holes and things on dressers or on furniture pieces. But it's going to give me that kind of raised imperfection, pottery. I'm doing the other end now. Kind of just texture on here. I will show you too how else, I'm glad I grabbed a couple, how else you can get this look if you don't have the mud. See, like this is going to take a minute to dry. So if you have any questions, please ask them because we're going to have some time here together. So you definitely want to make sure that Slick Stick has some time to, yeah, dry. Okay, so see, that is not, right? That's not, I'm gonna have to do this. Well, okay, let me show you the other way. So if you don't have the mud, and the good thing about the mud is you can sand this down. Like if you have too many, if it's too raised or you've got too much, you can definitely sand it down. And you would, you know, put on a couple coats of the slick stick, especially if it's a really slick surface. So if you didn't have the mud, this is not fully dry, but I just kind of want it somewhat dry so I can show you guys what I'm doing. This is what you do. So I just have, here is just black craft paint. And the reason I have black is because that's the colors I'm kind of wanting. So I was just thinking I did grab something, but I did. Okay. So this is what you do. So black craft paint, that kind of came out in the glob, and baking soda. That is your friend. So what I do is I just kind of mix them together. I'm using the same paintbrush just because, again, I don't want it perfect. I just kind of want this clumpy. I want it to thicken the paint. Oh, I have kind of a glob of paint there. That's what I'm looking for with the baking soda. The baking soda is just gonna make it, it's just gonna make the paint have some texture. There we go. And you can kind of feel it on your paintbrush. It just gets thicker. And you're gonna see that it kind of has texture. So it kind of works in the same thing. It's just gonna give it a little bit more texture than just the paint, and that's what you want. And again, I don't want to be perfect with it. I just, because I'm gonna go over this with a lighter color, I'm hoping. It will gunk up your paintbrush, so don't use like a really fancy paintbrush. You don't need it. A fancy paintbrush is not gonna make a difference. So again, it just kind of makes, it just kind of puts some texture inside that paint, kind of raises it a little bit. And again, you can do this in any color, but today, you guys, I haven't done this like an actual thing before, so I'm just like, I'll get on here with my friends and do it with you guys. I'm just gonna add a little bit more, just because I do have the mud, so the one side looks a little less textured than the other. So I'm just trying to even these out because I did use the mud on the one side. Try not to get it all over my hands and try to work a little fast. And when, you know, I have one piece of paper towel here. I mean, naturally. Okay, so again, I don't need it perfect. That doesn't have any here. I just kind of wanna, so if anybody knows anything about pottery, you need to let me know. Is this like a legit pottery? There are some, we can't make out the letters on this tag. Like you can make out, there's a K, there's an O, there's an N, and then on the other side, it's just, I can't make it out. So with the mud, you definitely want to, I'm gonna do that with the other stuff. You definitely wanna shut this when you're not using it. It's just kind of like any mud, you just don't want it to dry out. I'm just gonna use this stuff up here. Just kind of go around there. Okay, now I need to fully dry this because I'm not gonna be able to put the paint over it. So, okay, and this is not as loud as like a hair dryer. So I wanna see if anybody has any questions. If you can tell me about this pottery. Have you ever done this project, something like this? Super simple. You can do it in any color. Yes, if you want to, yes, the Google app, you guys, if you do any kind of thrifting, if you, hi Jeanette, if you do, you need this Google app in your life. I'm not even kidding. And go around your house with it. It's amazing. So just put in the comments Google app and I will make sure and get you that. Oh, hello, Lisa. I'm glad you're here. Okay. Okay. So like I said, you can do this any color that you like. I am doing this in way too fast. Way too fast. Like this, I should be walking away from this for a while and then coming back to it. But I already even like it where you can kind of see some of the white underneath it. You can make it like this. A lot of the pottery is two tones like that. And when you walk into thrift stores, the amount of, it doesn't even have to be like a pottery piece. It could be, this is like a ceramic piece. But there's so many options. You just got to walk up and down the aisles and you'll find a ton. I shouldn't say you'll find a ton of things. Well, I guess you will, but unless you are like picky like me, I really wanted to find a certain size and a certain look, and I had that in the other piece. I was going to do them both here live, and then I broke that. That is like the worst. And then I was really excited about this one, but I might just have to leave that one as it is. It is perfect colors for fall. It's funny because it didn't resonate. I was just, like I said, I was super excited that I found the dresser, and I was just, and then I saw that, picked it up, put it in my basket, and then I didn't really think about it. I was checking out. I wanted to make sure he understood which dresser I was getting when I was checking out. So then I had to go to the back of the store and actually pick up the dresser. So I was a little, I was dropping off the table. I was a little preoccupied, I guess. So it was a nice surprise when I got home, and I just saw it and I thought, oh, that's probably some homemade pottery. I can make it a different color. So it was a nice surprise when I got home. So my thrifted finds, for some of you that don't know, I do sell. I used to get, before I was selling it, every time I would share my thrifted finds, I would have people asking, can I buy that? Can I buy that? Can I buy your finds? And so I am doing that now. It's every Wednesday at noon Central, I launch new items, not products, over on it's on Instagram. So it's Instagram.com/mycreativedaysshop, all one word, but that's been like the easiest and the best route so far. And I've kind of kept it small. This week I'm going to have a lot more items launched, though. I've never done this big of a launch, so that's kind of fun. Okay, so now I wasted a lot of that baking soda. It kind of came out fast. So now what I want to do, I'm hoping this will work. But again, thanks, Linda. I would tell you to walk away from this at this point. Just let it sit for at least an hour and just so it can kind of dry. But I'm going to try and see if I can do it. So now I want kind of a lighter color over this, and I'm trying the new Terra clay paint from Dixie Belle. I've never used it before. And this color is Moonbeam. It's really, really pretty. I did open it before I came on here live. So it's just a pretty natural, I wouldn't say it's white. I wouldn't say it's necessarily cream. It's kind of a grayish color, but really, really light and kind of leans more, I would say beige. It looks like gray more in the camera, but on their thing, but in here, I would say it's a little more on, and it's kind of hard to explain. It's really, really pretty. So I'm going to, now if you were painting on anything else, I would tell you you know, just like if you were painting a dresser or whatever, I would tell you just use your paintbrush and you can dip back into the paint thing. But since this has got baking soda and all that stuff on it, I'm gonna just try and get some of this paint off the lid. And then, so then I'm just not, you know, because this probably isn't fully dry and this is not the way you should do it. But I just don't want to get any baking soda or anything or mud inside the actual paint jar. So I'm hoping you don't need a ton of paint. You guys can see that, right? So with this, again, I'm not going to be really perfect. I don't care if it's not going to cover it perfectly well. Yeah, see, like that was kind of a clump that wasn't fully dry, but it might turn out good. I don't want it to be perfectly, you know, covered or, so I just kind of stamp it, then I brush it, then you know, it'd probably be best if you had a toddler or somebody, you know, painting this. So it's just really not perfect. If I have some areas that, because this is light over the black, that look more gray, I'm probably going to put another coat of the white on it. But if some of the black actually pokes through, I will probably leave that because that's kind of the look. And you guys, there's no right or wrong way to do it. This is just the products and the easiest way I have found to do this. I mean, if you've got paint and you don't even need, just use craft paint. You don't even need fancy paint. If you don't have the slick stick, you can always get the spray. There's like spray primers and stuff. It just might help to have your paint stick and so it's not chipping away and then you're seeing that ceramic piece underneath it. So it just might help with that. You can always top coat them as well. Do like a spray poly on top so then they're not chipping away. So does anybody do pottery? Like, have you ever done? Gabrielle has taken so many classes over the years. I did not get any of this underneath dry. So I'm just gonna kind of skip that for now. I have never done any pottery classes. I don't know if I would, I love finding them like in the thrift stores, but I don't know if that's my, I don't know. I don't know if that would be a creative outlet I would like. Because I would probably be frustrated if I couldn't get it just right, maybe. I don't know. Oh, that's not dry either. Again, you want this to be messy. You want this to have texture. But I am just running into where there's like bigger clumps. I'm just pushing the black paint around. I don't want to do that. So I'm trying to work around that just to kind of show you guys what I'm doing. And so after this, yeah, there's another one. After this part dries, I will look at it obviously and see if anything else needs to be covered. But then I might go over it with like a black wax or, I don't know, black paint. Have you seen the pottery where it's kind of speckled? So you just take you can take a toothbrush and just kind of flip, like black paint speckled all around. You don't even have to do just black. Do browns and whatever. But an old toothbrush works good for that. But it's kind of a layered process. So this is not something where you're gonna, because you want it, what do I want to say? You want it dimensional. So you want it to have layers of paint, layers of clay, layers of texture, layers of mistakes. You want it to have that. And so, which is kind of fun, right? It's like the least stressful project you can do. So now, like after this dries, I'll look at it. Like I said, I'll figure out what I need to do, what other layer I need. I may decide that it needs to be, and I need to add another color to it as well. I've been to the mud hut with granddaughters. Okay, so that must be like a clay thing. Oh, that's why I think the whole, yeah, if it was super hard, it's kind of like, Landon, our son, yeah, the texture is so good. And when you do kind of the darker underneath the lighter, you can kind of see it. It kind of pops once you get that lighter paint on there. But I can tell now that I'm already gonna want to, maybe I'm gonna wanna layer some more mud. And this mud, I usually have it just in white. So it comes in white as well. That wasn't tight. So that would be good too. So maybe I'll get the white mud out. I do have some. And add a layer of that on top of this to get more texture and to just kind of, you want it to look like maybe you dug this up out of the dirt somewhere. You know, it's an old piece of pottery that they used way back in the day. It got buried in a landfill or it got buried under a house somewhere, and that's kind of what you're looking for. You just pulled this out of the dirt, which if you use some brown, to have some dirt, you know, on there, add some brown to it. So it makes it look a little bit more authentic. I actually thought, so the other one that I had that I broke, it had like this kind of, it was bigger and wider, but it had this to it. And this is the part that broke, and it was kind of like here. It wasn't just a chip, because if it was a chip, I would have kept it, because if you're digging the old pottery out of the ground, there's going to be chips. But it was just too far gone. So if you find a chip piece, or maybe you've got something like this in your house that's got chips on it, definitely use that, because that's what you'll find. That's what you'll find if you're you know, digging up old pottery. So if you can see on this side, down at the bottom, when I was pulling that black paint up, I don't like that look where there's like stripes, but just add more texture, or just add more color, or, you know, depending on what you're looking for. This is definitely going to need some more layers. And I don't have it here now, but some browns might be good. I was thinking, do I have anything here that I could make brown? Not in front of me, I don't. So, okay, let me see. Okay, just want to make sure. Okay, so I'm just gonna continue this, you guys. It's an easy project. I would love to know if you try this. I would definitely share it with me if you do. If these kind of easy projects, if you think somebody else would enjoy this, share this video. You can decorate your home exactly how you want to without spending, you know, $95, $100 on little things like this, like shopping thrift stores, remaking things over. It's totally doable. It's like what I'm passionate about. I love sharing these projects. So yeah, this, I'm going to let it sit for a little bit just because I don't want to keep pulling that paint up. But then I will continue to add some things to it, and I will definitely share a photo on here when I get it done and put on a mantle or something. So, okay, if you have any questions, if you're watching it on replay, let me know. If you've done this before, or if you try this after you see this, let me know. I would love to see it. And share this video, because we need to have everybody else see these easy ways to get the exact same look for a lot less. Okay, I got through them all. Okay, have a great rest of your day, you guys, and I'm going to try and finish this today.